What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome back to the stream. Get my camera all set up here. Happy Monday! It's, there's no, like, fun alliteration for Space Marine chapters. It's non-compliant None Day or something. We got non-compliant Space Marine chapter indexes today, so we're going to be talking about all the other Space Marine stuff that isn't in the normal regular Space Marine Codex, so everything that's not, you know, just regular like Ultramarines and Imperial Fists and stuff. And I'm kind of psyched because it'll be interesting to see, you know, the depths that we can plumb in the Space Marine faction and have them do some more interesting stuff. So, welcome everybody in chat. I did just ask everyone in the chat room what faction we want to do first. Let's see, what do we got? Dark Angels, Blood Angels, Deathwatch, Ultramarines, Deathwatch again, Dark Angels again, Dark Angels again, Dark Angels again, Dark Angels again. Okay, I guess it's Dark Angels. How about we start with Rainbow Warriors? Ah, Narwhal. A chatter after my own heart. Fucking love myself some Rainbow Warriors. That might have been too early in the stream to drop profanity. YouTube is going to ding me for that one, but that's okay. Whatever. It's fine. All right, so we'll start with Dark Angels, chat. So just as a little bit of a clarification, well, a couple PSA things first of all. I'm going to do live streams for all of the new reveals throughout the week. I don't know if I'm going to cover every single faction because tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday we're getting like enormous dumps, but we'll at least be on for a couple hours. I don't believe that I'm going to do a normally scheduled Tactical Tuesday this week because I'm going to be doing all these live streams. In addition, I spent all weekend playing games of 10th edition on the Purple Channel stream. You can find a link to that over in my link tree. And I might continue to play some over the course of this week, just depending on how much I have time. If I do, I'm going to live stream it, of course. So be sure to follow me there. Follow me in the Discord to get the notification when I post up when I go live. I hope this is, yeah, this is, my microphone's working. All right, cool. And, the first VOD from that is up right now on the replay channel. So you can watch my first ever game of 10th edition, which is kind of a crap show, but that's the first game of any edition. I'm going to have a couple more where we try some interesting and funky stuff with Tyranids in 10th edition that are going to go up over the next couple of days, and I've got some more ideas. I don't know if they're good ideas, but I've got some more ideas. We have what is potentially a points document for Tyranids as well, so I'm probably going to play using that. Allegedly, it is close, but maybe not exact to what the points cost is, what I have been told. And it was kind of exactly what I theorized on Saturday, actually, to be, which is kind of cool. So anyway, let's dive in to some Space Marine chapters. So for those who don't know, how this works is that when you play Space Marines, Space Marines are the only faction in the game. The only one. They're so special because they actually get sub-factions in their army. So when you build a Space Marine army, you choose you choose your faction, which is Space Marines, obviously. You choose your detachment, and you choose a sub-faction keyword or a chapter keyword. The chapter keyword, if you choose one that corresponds to a separate detachment, instead of playing Gladius Strike Force, which is the rule that we talked about on Friday, you can, if you want to, choose the particular detachment for that chapter. You can't take any units that have a different chapter keyword, but obviously the generic units will go into any chapter. So the stuff without a chapter keyword goes into anything. But they have specified that you can't, like, take Ultramarines characters in your Blood Angels detachment and vice versa. In addition, there's some characters that are from successor chapters that can't get taken along Epic Heroes from their normal chapter. And those are the special rules. So there's no, like, sub-faction abilities per se, but if you're in a sub-faction, you have the opportunity to play a special detachment, is the only thing it gets you, which has the same number of rules as a normal detachment, so you give up Gladius Strike Force to play it, but you get some unique stuff, so, you know, maybe it's good. Gladius Strike Force is insanely strong, though, so I don't know. Honestly, you could just probably play Gladius Strike Force probably and it'd be fine. All right. So the people have spoken, and we have spoken about Dark Angels. So I have not looked at these at all, chat. So these are sight unseen for me so far. Obviously, we saw the preview stuff, so I know that. But otherwise, that's all I have. That's all I know about. So Grim Resolve is the Dark Angels attachment ability. So that's what they get instead of combat doctrines. Now, it's an interesting piece of technology here, and I wonder if this is going to get addressed in the FAQ document that we're getting. Because to my reading, if you're objective control 0 and you become battle shocked, Grim Resolve actually increases your objective control characteristic. So if you're like a Hammerfall bunker and you get battle shocked, you actually gain the ability to control objectives. I don't know if that will remain the case, but I believe that the rules as written indicate that that's how that works, which is, to be fair, super duper funny, which I love. All right. We have some special stratagems. So a lot of the stratagems carry over. Armor of Contempt we have from Gladius Strike Force. Ooh, everything else they have is bespoke, though. Wow. Unforgiven Fury. And your shooting phase. Weapons equipped by models in your unit have the lethal hits ability. If one or more of your Adeptus Astartes units are currently battle shocked, successful unmodified hit roll of a 5+ score to critical hit. That's weird. So if anyone runs away, then they get a buff to their stratagem. Love battle shock. What a great mechanic. Definitely not a disaster at all. The immediate question I have here is how many grav cannons can we put into a unit? Oh, I guess no, that's not what we want. We want lethal. We want hit reroll stuff that gets hit rerolls to trigger lethal hits. We don't want devastating wound stuff. I don't know. Alongside O's Moment, that doesn't feel quite as powerful as it could be, but it is good. Armor of Contempt is amazing as always. Hot take, everything is bad. They play Gladius Strike Force or nothing. Lethal hits is pretty good. Like, if you have, like, mass, any sort of mass, I guess we can also look at the characters. If there's a character who gives, like, hit rerolls to a unit, then the lethal hits is really good, but I don't know. Intractable, you can shoot and declare a charge even though you fell back. That's a great stratagem for 1 CP, love it. Fire Discipline, ranged weapons, get Assault Heavy and Ignore Cover. Well, as we have discovered, Ignore Cover is basically equivalent to a flat statistical buff because literally everyone has cover all the time now. And the Assault keyword is fucking nuts. I don't know if it works alongside the mission abilities, though, because those might trigger at the start of the movement phase. So, let's take a look-see at the mission rules. So the big benefit of having assault weapons is that you get to... You're considered to be eligible to make ranged attacks, even if you are... even if you've advanced that turn. Let me just look through my sheets here. So Cleanse, for example, says, in your shooting phase, you can select one or more units from your army that are not battle shocked and eligible to shoot. So this could mean for 1 CP, you can grant your units assault weapons, which makes them eligible to shoot even if they advanced. So then you can perform actions for a CP after you move quickly, which is pretty cool. Grim Retribution. After an enemy unit has shot, if one of your units had a model destroyed as a result of the attacking unit's attacks, you can shoot as if it were your shooting phase, but can only target the enemy unit. That's great. That is a solidly good stratagem, and it is 1 CP. Is it a strict upgrade from the other varieties of this that we've seen? Because we know that Leagues of Votann have an identical ability, right? And Adeptus Sororitas do as well. Where are theirs? I can't find them in my big list of things. They have Rejoice the Fallen, which I think is identical. Yeah, that's exactly the same. But the Votann one, I think, requires that the target have judgment tokens assigned to them, which is really bad. The Votann one is... Oh, the Votann one is 2 CP, but doesn't require you to use the units. So it's actually a side grade. Well, that's good. At least there's no strictly worse varieties of this ability. But this is a... This is a strong stratagem. Hilariously, you can triple tap with Hellblasters, right? You can take shots, shoot back on a 3+, overcharge those, and then shoot yourself, overcharge again, and have those guys die and shoot a third time. No weapons of the Dark Ages though, so at least we're not getting like 3 damage plasma guns. Unbreakable Lines. Using when an enemy ends a charge move within engagement range, you get -1 damage for 1 CP. Fuck, that's good. Is that just a cheaper version of Disgustingly Resilient? It straight up is, right? It doesn't require that your opponent charges, or Disgustingly Resilient does, but it costs 2 instead of 1. Rip. Oof. Oof. Dark Angels are crippled by the units your characters can join. Ezekiel looks great, but he can't rock with anyone good. I mean, I think that's a lot of the case, how the characters are sort of being balanced out. A lot of the sort of a lot of the special characters don't get you don't get interesting bodyguard options. I'm going to turn my microphone up here, everybody. Just I saw some comments that it was a little bit quiet, so I'm going to turn it up. I hope that's better. It looks like things can't go to 0 damage. It doesn't. It's weird that they not only didn't say it in the stratagem and also didn't say it in the core rulebook. I think they literally just forgot. But the scuttlebutt right now is that you can't reduce things to damage 0, which is what I would expect. Like, be real talk. So they have for enhancements, a Phoenix Gem. When they're dead, they can regenerate. Stubborn Tenacity gives you the grim. What's the Grim Demeanor? Is that the Death Core of Krieg ability? That's okay, I guess. This is maybe you're putting that on big Terminator bricks or something. Heavenfall Blade, +1 strength, attack, and damage. While the bear is battle shocked, add 2 instead? What the fuck is this weird, this reverse battle shock matters? Way to make all the battle shock matters factions just feel bad about themselves. Oh, what's that? You're playing Chaos Knights? Get absolutely slapped, dude. You just make my dude, swing his damage 3 Thunderhammer. Pennant of Remembrance gives you a 6+ feel no pain while you're battle shocked. You get a 4+ instead. It's... What a weird position to be in, because your units are leadership 5 or 6, right? There's nothing that makes them easier to battle shock, right? So why do they get so many battle shock buffs? It's what a bizarre sub faction identity to be entirely constructed around something that you have no control over. Like, not only does your opponent dictate when you can become battle shocked because they inflict casualties to you, but then also it's just random. It's only like a 35%er that you actually fail, or a 30%er, I think, for a 6+ leadership, which is like wild. That's super bizarre. So Azrael grants sustained 1. So he's just an apothecary biologist. Oh no, he grants lethal. He's just a bolter discipline guy, I guess. And he grants a 4+ invulnerable save once per battle. You can give him a 4+ feel no pain against mortal wounds. I guess that's good. It is any time, so you can determine how many mortal wounds you suffer from an effect. So at least you can shrug like a tank shock once per game. You're like, he's sitting in a big brick of guys. I guess Blade Guard veterans would be the place he's standing. But it's kind of weird. Like, you would almost expect him to be able to jump into Terminator bricks, right? Maybe that's just maybe that's just the like faction identity of the past speaking, but it kind of feels like that all of these characters just want to synergize with Deathwing Terminators. But I think that might just be because Deathwing Terminators have been the only thing that this faction's played for so long. While he's leading a unit, you get precision. Precision seems like not a very good ability to me, honestly. I don't like precision. And the fact that it's only critical hits is like kind of wild. Like, honestly, it could maybe even be fine if it just granted precision to all of your attacks. So far as precision, like, the characters inside a unit are so much harder to kill than the unit that most of the time you don't even want to be triggering precision anyway. So you just want to be killing as many models as you can to reduce their OC value by as much as you can. That's weird. Each time an attack is allocated to him, after the attacking model's unit has finished making its attacks, roll 1d6 for each 2+. What is happening? Yeah, each time. Oh, okay. So it triggers per attack. I don't know why that took me so long. On a 2+, the attacking unit suffers 1 mortal wound. That's like a decently good ability, but it requires his Terminator unit to be dead. I don't know about that. Also, I'm fairly sure... I'm not sure if this triggers if he dies. Right? Because then he's not in the battlefield anymore. I don't know if your abilities continue to persist after death. I think they do. So that might still happen, but it's kind of weird. You roll hits and wounds on the unit, then choose how many wounds to allocate after. Right, but characters have better saves and more wounds than the unit they're attached to, generally speaking. So you like you just say like take them on the unit because you have a greater chance of removing models from them. Is like, I'm not gonna say that happens every time, but like 90% of the time, that's how like precising someone will work. And I think if you have particularly squishy characters, I think that could change. But given that most of the characters in the game that are gonna be susceptible to precision are gonna be like these Terminator, like Gravis characters, like you know, this guy, you don't really want to like dedicate like, oh, I fired an assault cannon and 3 storm bolters and at your character and did 2 wounds. What a time to be alive. Whereas that would have just killed a Terminator if you'd fired it at the rest of the unit. If you'd elected to assign those to the rest of the unit. The good thing about it is that you can choose per attack as the attack gets resolved. So you can see how much damage you do as you keep going, which is kind of nice. Oh, I'm sorry, chat. The page is cut off here. Let me reorient my viewer. There you go, everybody. Thanks for letting me know. Unfortunately, I don't have my broadcasting software open all the time, so sometimes I miss it if I shift things around. One time I went an entire stream with only like the middle third being put my telestrator in here. With only like the middle third being shown, and no one said anything for the entire stream. I was so embarrassed at the end. It's like if Neuragon in Neuragon's the chance to win a Neurotyrant on T3 instead of T8 is nice. Yeah, that's true. For sure. It's the same with like Tyrants and Tyrant Guard. I mean, but I think Tyranids are a special case because Tyranids have characters with different toughness values than the unit they're attached to, and that's rarely the case for other factions. Like Orcs, I guess, but other than that, I can't really think of any. Maybe Demons? They're kind of weird. Sammy! Mr. Sammy, while he's leading a unit, you can shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which you advanced. Alright. Gives everyone assault weapons, and advance and charge is good. He makes you take desperate escape checks when you fall back from him. That's not great. His plasma cannon's not very good. 8-3-2 is whatever. Twin Stormbolters is whatever. Yeah. I don't know, Sammy. You're kind of falling off a little bit, my guy. Ezekiel has a Psychic Hood. In your shooting phase, you make somebody take a Battle Shock test. What a time. What a time to be alive. It's in your shooting phase, not even like start of your turn, in your command phase, at the start of any phase or something. Like, so you can't stop people from overwatching or whatever. Yeah, it's not very good. You can maybe make them, like, not be able to use defensive stratagems, but if they're a Dark Angel, then they just get mad buffs if you Battle Shock them, so that's cool. He has a Mind Wipe. Devastating Wound, Precision, Psychic. One shot. Strength 6, AP 2, D6 damage. And you can overcharge it to... I get anti-character 4+. That's cute. I like that. Anti-character 4+. What does he join, though? Assault Command Tactical Vanguard Veteran. Ew. No good retinues for this man. Poor Ezekiel. Asmodai gives reroll hits, but he doesn't give +1 to wound. Okay. The start of each fight phase, each enemy character unit must take a Battle Shock test with -1. Each time you destroy an enemy character model, gain a CP. That's pretty alright. There's not that many ways, it feels like, to get command points, like raw command points in Space Marines. So that's actually like a relevant ability. And it's his unit, right? Oh no, it's his model. Just kidding. He's like anti-character 2+, but it's strength 4, AP 0, 1 damage. It's not that good. He attacks 8 times, I guess. That's something. The dude will cleave a bunch of little infantry guys, but it's not really something you need in Space Marines. It's weird he gives reroll hit rolls, but he doesn't give you the +1 to wound like the normal chaplains do. That ability is like legitimately extremely good, especially because a lot of times you'll oath at moment something you need to charge. So you get the hit rolls anyway. Ravenwing Talon Master, the only land speeder that's stuck at movement 16. Whoa. Talon Masters, calm down. While within 3 inches of one or more other Adeptus Astartes mounted or fly vehicles, it has the lone operative ability. So if you put 2 Talon Masters next to each other, they both get lone operative. What the fuck? The lone operative mechanics are problematic, chat. We had this big discussion on stream about it the other day. There's plenty of ways to trigger your own lone operative off of other lone operatives, which just makes you, like, allows you to construct little pockets of units that can't be attacked. Both Gilliman and Lion can get lone operative from units that are naturally lone operative, and it does their model count doesn't matter. So you can get lone operative from, for example, a single tech marine who's next to a vehicle, or the Phobos lieutenant with the combi weapon who has lone operative built in, or just sniper scouts, which is usually what you're going to be doing. So you just make them entirely untargetable, which is kind of nuts. Yeah, no way that's a problem for sure. Definitely not the unit with 2 twin-linked ranged weapons. Inky, hi. You coming to visit? Come say hi to chat. Inky. You coming up? You snossed and lost, kitty cat. He is a leader, but doesn't have any units to lead. Yeah, that's weird. It's not like a requirement that you are a leader to get lone operative, right? No. Yeah, maybe that's like a future proof or something. It's an index. What can you do? Let's see. Well, a friendly Adeptus Astartes mounted or fly vehicle unit is within 6 ranged weapons equipped by models in that unit have ignore cover. He is a fly vehicle within 6 of himself, so he also has ignore cover. But, importantly, only ballistic skill 3, not ballistic skill 2. So that's nice. That's something. Once per turn when an enemy unit ends a normal move, advance or fall back within 9. Oh, he gets the reactive move? Are you kidding? Talon Masters, stop being so damn good. At least the weapon profiles, the assault cannon and heavy bolter weapon profiles are less like prodigiously powerful than they were in 9th edition. So I'm not sure he really does that much. These abilities are great, but the weapons are whatever. At least he's not firing 18 times like he was in 9th edition. So I'm actually not sure you see too many of these guys, even though ignore cover in an aura is very good. Lazarus gets the fight on death on a 4+. And he himself has a feel no pain 3-up against mortal wounds and psychic attacks. He doesn't grant it to his unit. He's anti-psyker 2+ in melee. Not devastating wounds though, but I guess that's fine. AP3 is like good enough. Yeah. It doesn't seem great. No support abilities for him is like whatever. Maybe he's cheap. He doesn't even have rights of battle, right? Yeah. Okay. Lazarus, what are you doing here, my guy? Get yourself a support ability. The Strike Master is a lieutenant, so he grants lethal hits. Each time he makes an attack that targets an enemy below half strength. But it's only him. It's not his unit. Nobody else has that, right? He's not just like aping another ability. No. Great. So, like, I guess if you're... okay, so it's below half strength, you get +1 to hit and wound. It's not the +1 below starting and plus wound below half. But most of his weapons hit on 2s anyway. I guess it means that he can, like, hit with his Thunderhammer on, or his Chain Fist on 2s, or his Thunderhammer on 2s if he takes one, but... That's so difficult to trigger. I guess, like, you can... Because you can choose when he fights, you can fight with his Terminator unit first, and then they can knock somebody below half, and then he gets +1 to wound. That's a weird ability to give to like apply to only that model. Very strange. The Strike Master's tactical precision would trigger with Belial's Grandmaster of the Deathwing. Grandmaster of the Deathwing grants precision on critical hits. And then the tactical precision gives lethal. Yeah, I guess so. But that's like that doesn't like change the math. Like you automatically wounded, but the point is that the characters are harder to kill than the models in the unit. So you're not even rolling against the character's toughness. So lethal hits doesn't. You don't do comparatively more damage to a character because you lethal hit them, because the math is the same. But the character's save and wounds count are still going to be higher. And you're in a Terminator unit, so at best you're shooting an assault cannon. Or a cyclone, I guess. If you hit a character with a cyclone, it's pretty cool, but you have to like fish for a 6. It's just like a weird ability. I don't know. Maybe every once in a while you're going to get a guard character out of it, but not that often. Why have they deleted Blade Guard veterans? The most awesome unit in the game, and you can't pair them with anything? What? It's like every character joins Blade Guard veterans. What are you talking about? That's one of the few units that you're actually like incentivized to put both a captain and a lieutenant in. I'm not sure Blade Guard veterans are optimal, but they definitely seem good. I also the reroll ones to hit or reroll ones to save, like I'm gonna call it like the duelist ability. That they've been giving a couple of those like elite melee units is super cool. Super duper cool. But I'm feeling my light here is getting a little bit intense. It's a bright sunshiny day. The sun just came out, so it's getting a little bright in my windows. The Deathwing Command Squad, we already saw the data sheet for on the preview article, and I think they look great. They just have Fury of the First baked in as Deathwing, which is interesting. Deathwing Knights, 4 wounds, -1 damage. Whoa! Hot diggity damn, chat. I guess they're just tanks, though. They are 1 billion attacks, 4 and 5 attacks. Yeah, Strength 6 AP1 for 3 is like... Alright. I mean, I guess they really want you to put that Strike Master in there and give them lethal hits, right? So you can convert that little Strength 6, but that AP1's going to kill you. That AP1 is not great. Raven Wing Command Squad. This is just a bunch of bikes. And you can take grenade launchers. Cool. Black Knights. Wound monsters and vehicles on 4s when they charge. They are only 3 attacks for 1 damage, but that's a solid ability. Plasma Talons have really taken a hit, though. This is not the profile that we remember, unfortunately. Dark Shroud grants benefit of cover, but it's all Adeptus Astartes units within 6. And benefit of cover is solid. You put this guy behind Vindicators or something, and he's just there. He lets you save on Smokescreen for a little while until your opponent decides to kill him. Only T8 though. He's easier to kill than a Storm Speeder. And the weapon profiles are not good. 1 heavy bolter, 1 assault cannon. Oof. Oh no, it's 1 heavy bolter or an assault cannon? Oh. Well, I hope he's cheap. That man is not doing any damage. Landspeeder Vengeance. Oh, hi. There she is. It's a kitty. Landspeeder Vengeance has the same gun that the... I guess it's a slightly worse gun than the Redemptor Dreadnought, because the Redemptor Dreadnought's got an extra AP on it, right? On the plasma gun. But that's a battery, right? So it's a single shot. It's not both. So it's only D6 plus 1 total. It's strength 9 AP3 for 3 damage on the big one. And he can shoot at people who destroy Astartes units in the shooting phase. So you have to fully kill something for that ability to trigger. That's a solid ability. I like that. kind of reactive thing. I kind of wish they'd lean more into something like that rather than this like weird Battle Shock Matters idea. How does -1 damage work for devastating wounds? No one knows, chat. Currently, per the rules as written, it doesn't do anything. Because the -1 damage, if I remember correctly, triggers when an attack is allocated to the model, and devastating wounds just assigns mortal wounds. But that could be FAQ'd to reduce the number of mortal wounds that the unit takes. So until such time as you hear otherwise, it doesn't do anything against devastating wounds. But I would assume that it reduces damage to a minimum of 1. That would be kind of unreasonable if it didn't do that, honestly. The Dark Talon. He can bomb someone for D3 mortal wounds. You can prevent them from advancing or falling back, or forcing them to remain stationary. That's cute. That's like kind of what you would expect the stasis bomb to do, but it never did that, which is always weird. It has a hurricane bolter, which is a solid profile, and a rift cannon, which is just devastating wounds now. Whatever. Not that high of shot volume. When it fired for mortal wounds, that was good, but relying on devastating is not amazing. The Nephilim jet fighter. What does he have on him? 1 Avenger Mega Bolter, Black Sword missiles, Twin Heavy Bolter, Armored Hull, and we can place the Avenger with las cannons. So either 2 las cannons stapled together, or 10 Strength 5 AP 1/2 damage. So like 3 heavy bolters. 3.33 heavy bolters stapled together. I think you just take the las cannons, right? The missiles are good though. 2 shots, anti-fly 2+. That's relevant. Not as relevant as it was in the past. I think fly's gonna drop a little bit, but occasionally you'll hit something with fly and just rip them apart. Nephilim jet fighter seems all right. He's permanently -1 to be hit, and -1 to be wounded against flyers as well. Oh, that's cool. And then the Lion, who we have already seen and looks great. Cool. All right. I mean, Dark Angels seem like solid. I do think that units like the Deathwing Knights are interesting. I think you're just like, it feels like the command squad show, to be honest. Because you get all of the cool abilities from the command squad, you get the regenerating dudes from the Narthessium that the Apothecary has. They're like a OC2 base, and then you can like stack cool other stuff on top of them. They're like +1 to advance and charge. I think that the Deathwing Knights trade like a lot for their tankiness. Like 4 wounds, a 2+, 4+, with -1 damage is good. And you can like stack them really hard. You can make them a 0-up save if you like go to ground plus Armor of Contempt. So you can make them legitimately like impossible to shift, but I just don't feel like they do any damage. Maybe it's fine. I guess maybe you just play them in Gladius and you give them Lance on the charge, and then they're like wounding most stuff on 4s, but there's still like a big, huge category of units that they're wounding on 6s, 5s, or 6s. I wonder if this stacks with their built-in -1 damage, so you can make them -2. I bet it does. Maybe that's good enough. They might actually be a good target for the banner guy who adds their OC value. Like, that unit's probably tough enough to kill that they can just survive on an objective for long enough. And you can take like the regular Terminator Ancient, although he can't join their unit, right? He'd have to be called out. So I assume that maybe you can't do that. Just kidding, chat. They don't have an Ancient, right? I guess you could also... Well, you can't put that in any of the units. Yeah, I don't know. Well, just kidding. Maybe that's not the way to go. Yeah, the special characters are definitely not very good. For sure. I think the special characters really like showcase the weakness of the character attachment rules. We talked about this on Friday when we went through the core Space Marine Index, but the fact that they can all only join like tactical squads is just really, really bad. Because they're just like slaved to attaching them only to things that share armor classes, you're just like, well, there's like nobody I can add in here. So that's so weird. You can take the Pennant of Remembrance on a Terminator Ancient. But I don't... Does he join any of these units? So... Like, a Terminator Ancient joins regular Terminator squads. There's no special rule for joining Deathwing varieties, right? Maybe do they? Are they keyworded? Maybe they're keyworded Terminator Squad. Nope. Get wrecked. Well, that's weird. So they actually lack like external synergy as well with every other unit. I guess that's a way to like keep you in the codex, right? But that's like hard to keep track of, honestly. If a character can be attached to a Terminator squad, it can be attached to that unit. Where is that? Is that on the flip side? Oh, at the bottom. Oh, okay, just kidding. Do knights have that? No. Get wrecked. Oh, wait, we're on the flip side. Oh, no, you can. Just kidding. Oh, all right. Well, there you go. Problem solved. That's not where I would look for that ability, but we got it. That's bizarre. All right, well, just kidding. It's all good. So we can stick Terminator Ancients everywhere. So you can make the whole Deathwing Knight Squad OC2 with a 6+ feel no pain. That seems pretty okay. Anyway. Yeah, definitely seems tanky as fuck. But you got to work to do some damage with them. I think I'm sort of picking up what you're putting down about the detachment abilities seeming kind of not amazing. Like, I guess you could give these guys like lethal hits. That's something. But I just want to give them +1 to wound, honestly. And the -1 damage is good, but yeah, if your opponent isn't like actually afraid of engaging into you, then then it's not that big of a deal. Anyway, let's go to the next one. What do we want to do next, chat? What was the last one on the on our little unofficial poll we did? I tried to do an actual poll, by the way, and I could not do it. There were not enough entry options for all of the different Space Marine chapters. I see a lot of Space Wolves. Yeah, it was like 4 people asking for Space Wolves. We're gonna do Space Wolves. Sorry, Black Templars people, you snossed and lost. It's Space Wolves time. So we already saw Deeds Worthy of Saga, which was kind of funky. But when they do have restrictions, you cannot include tactical squads, assault squads with jump packs, devastator squads, command squads, and apothecaries. Bizarrely, just Primaris apothecaries, not like apothecary biologi. Okay. That's weird, but sure. Go for the throat until the end of the phase. Improve the armor penetration characteristic of models in your unit by 1. If Saga of the Beast player has been completed, gain Lance as well. And Saga of the Beast Slayer requires you to like. No, that's bear. Requires your a character model to destroy a monster or vehicle. Oh boy. I don't know if that one's gonna happen, chat. Maybe they have some nutso enhancements that we're not seeing quite yet. Death Howl. When a starter's unit has destroyed one or more enemy units. Till the end of the phase, each time you make a consolidation move, you can move it to 6 inches. And then you force a battle shock check if you have completed the Saga of Majesty. That's the one where you have to take your opponent's home objective. Yeah. I think having seen the like sort of usual play pattern now for 10th edition, these look less and less possible as the like sort of I play more games, especially like killing monsters and vehicles with characters is like these characters are like strength 8 AP2 like they're winning everything on 5s and not doing that much damage. I don't know if that's gonna really work out too well. Warrior Pride. Select one saga that has not been completed by your army until the end of the turn. Models in your character's unit have the benefit of the saga as if it had been completed. They have the benefit of the saga, but they don't consider it completed, so they don't synergize with the other effects. But it's only character units. Meh. Relentless Assault. You can fall back and shoot, and if you have completed Warrior Born, then you can also charge. Did Intractable just let you charge? It did, right? Oh boy. I guess this lets you advance and do stuff. So it's like these kind of squished together in a little bit of a different way. So it's not exactly the same, but that's not it's still not great. It's not quite adaptive strategy. Definitely Gladius Strike Force is pretty good comparatively. And then they have a buff against psychic attacks. Let's see. Pelt of the Beowulf forces enemies within engagement range to take battle shock checks. So it's like kind of a fight last, but not really. Not great. Black Death. Bears melee weapons of anti-monster and anti-vehicle 4+. That is legit good. Especially because like if you equip a Thunder Hammer, right, then those trigger devastating wounds on 4s then. So just mortals, like if you're 50-50 to mortal somebody, that's all right. Wolftail Talisman is -1 damage, whatever. And Frost Weapon is precision +1 strength and armor. Meh. That is unfortunate. I was really hoping that Space Wolves would get like insane character enhancements, but I guess it is not to be. Logan Grimnir. Either 10 1-damage attacks or 6 3-damage attacks. It's alright. Once per battle in your charge phase, you can reroll charge rolls for Adeptus Astartes units from your army until the end of the turn. Reroll the hit rolls. That's good. And then he gains you command points sometimes. Logan Grimnir seems okay. Does he get a buff on Storm Rider? He gets 6 extra attacks, which helps him killing units, because he has to kill the unit himself. His unit can't do it, so that's useful. Everyone still has Osa Moment, chat. You can't get rid of Osa Moment. Logan Grimner does attach to Thunderwolf Cavalry, so that's cute. Let's go take a look at Thunderwolf Cavalry real quick. Maybe they're the secret sauce we've been eating. Nope, that's Herald Deathwolf. Thunderwolves. T6 with 4 wounds, a 3+, and potentially 4+ invulnerable. Each time they make a charge move, +1 to the damage characteristic of melee weapons equipped by models in this unit. Whoa. All right. And then what are they equipped with? Oh, heirloom weapons. No, the heirloom weapons have returned. No. They got us again. +1 damage, but all they make is, I mean, it's a lot of attacks. 7, strength 5, AP1. AP1, though. That's not good. Ugh. You can't even put like a Thunderhammer on the Sergeant. Oh, boy. Ripperonis. They also don't get advance in charge. They only move 10. They don't go through walls because they're still mounted. Yeah, mounted keyword. Inky. Even Inky's complaining about him right now. She's having a little bit of a fit over there. Wolfguard also got heirloom weapons. Yeah, that heirloom weapon profile is just like straight garbo. Honestly, like, they made it strength 6, AP2. Like, now we're talking. But strength 5, AP1 is just so bad. It just doesn't hit any of the good breakpoints. It's like wild. At least strength 6, we wound most vehicles on 5s, right? But strength 5, you wound like a big majority of them on 6s. And it's like, oh boy. Nyal has a real awkward Tesla gun. And he gives stealth. Okay. He's like directly competing with a Phobos Librarian who just gives untargetability. But I guess he attaches to Terminators. Bjorn, not a leader. He's a 5+ fail, no pain, 8 wounds, no invulnerable. At least he's like 2+ save, so he's a 1+ in cover. But this dude's gonna fall apart. Oh, but half damage. Maybe he's fine. And he can Agents Effect you. I like this Hellfrost Cannon profile. I just wish it was better than this Las Cannon. Because it only averages a little bit more damage, but it gets an extra strength and a twin linked reroll. Yeah, I think he's just a Las Cannon caddy. He's 6 attacks, lethal hits, but AP2, 3 damage in melee. Get out of here. All right. AP2. What is this like? What is this obsession with giving like big, expensive characters AP2? Arjack Rockfist, my guy. What are you doing with AP2 as well? He's anti-monster 2+. That's cute, at least. Well, he's leading unit. Each time you make an attack and 1 to the hit roll if the unit's below starting strength, 1 to the wound roll if it's below half. And they get Epic Challenge for 0 CP. Why is he get Epic Challenge, but his vehicle's anti-monster? He's like, he really wants to fight, like, Swarm Lord. It's like, please, give me Swarm Lord. If I fight anybody else, I just, like, my okay melee profile just bounces. I guess, like, it's fine. Like, 8 AP2, 3 damage is good against most characters, I guess. But, I don't know, it's a little bit funky. Ulrich has a brick attacks. Holy crap. He does grant +1 leadership within 6 rather than just to his unit, so that's solid. His leading unit at the start of the fight phase selects 1 enemy in engagement range until the end of the phase. Each time a model in this model's unit makes a melee attack that targets the enemy, Reroll a hit roll of 1 and a wound roll of 1. The enemy is a character, vehicle, monster. Reroll the hit roll and reroll the wound roll. Whoa! He owes a moment every fight phase? That's sick. For his unit anyway, right? Character, monster, vehicle is honestly going to be a wide majority of the game. And reroll once the hit and wound is still good. Ulrich, calm down, my dude. Maybe, can we get enough attacks out of Blood Claws to make that worthwhile? They get +1 attack and +1 strength on the charge. And they're equipped with chain swords. And we can take just Power Fist on the leader. It's low AP. Only 3 attacks each. Yeah, maybe we can't. I guess they go to 4, strength 5. That's an heirloom weapon profile right there, chat. A Blood Claw hits as hard as a Vanguard veteran when they charge. Oh boy. I guess it doesn't have lethal hits, so. But at least they can take a Power Fist, unlike the other guys. Where were we at? Ulrich the Slayer? Man, that's such a good ability. That's such a good ability. Yeah, Wolfguard Terminators are the Terminator unit. That is somewhere over here, probably. These guys? Hey, I like that they just reuse this dude's picture. They're like, it's fine. Also, how about that barrel drill right there? Right on point. I love it. I always got kind of weirded out that they drilled barrels in the old Terminator models. It always felt kind of like cheating. It's like a little disingenuous. Like I guess they assembled it, but is like a barrel is removing material from the model. Like, is that part of the assembly process? I don't know. But then occasionally they just fuck it up, like this guy. It just look kind of bad. Which is funny. It looks like a googly eye. These appear to just be Terminators, right, chat? I'm not really seeing any. I guess they can mix and match their weapons. Oh, excuse me. They're not locked into just being all shooting or all melee. Each of them can have their Power Fist and Stormbolter replaced with 2 of the following, with no duplicates of the guns. And the regular Wolfguard unit is Hounds of Mordecai we saw. Lucas the Trickster. The regular Wolfguard unit is basically just a Vanguard veteran squad. They don't have Scout, though. They trade lethal hits on the charge for +1 to hit when there's a character attached. So if we put Ulrich in the unit, they hit on 2s, rerolling 1s, and they reroll 1s to wound. I mean, at least strength 5, like AP 1's all right. With if you're full rerolling, right? It's like something. Ragnar Blackmane. This dude can join anything, basically. Was leading a unit, you can advance and charge. Solid. He gets +2 to the attack and the strength characteristic of his sword. So he attacks 10 times at strength 8, AP 3, 2 damage with sustained hits. Ragnar Blackmine might be sweet. That guy could be okay. just as a big old beat stick. That's a lot of attacks. That's a lot of damage. You give that guy a lance, you stick a lance on that dude, he's going ham. All right, I'll buy a Ragnar Blackmane for $1. You could do dual Thunderhammers, but it doesn't do anything for you, chat. Having 2 of the same weapon doesn't let you attack with both of them. You still only get to pick one of your Thunderhammers to hit with. You have to be the special Gravis Captain to get the extra attacks out of the second weapon. Crom Dragon Gaze gets the Grim Demeanor ability. And he's just Ezekiel, but 12 inches. All right. Herald Deathwolf. Grants crushing teeth and claws, but only to his... yeah, devastating wounds to only the teeth and claws. Once per phase, you can change the damage characteristics to 0. So he has an impossible robe. That's real good. Excuse me, chat. Oh my god. None of these Thunderwolf characters have like a lieutenant ability though, right? We can't like Death Star them. You get to pick one thing to give them. He gets to do a bunch of damage. He's got Wolf Claws, but they're 1 damage for some reason. They're not special. All right. Yeah, nothing like ludicrously exciting here. The characters are good. I won't lie to you. Ulrich, Logan, and Ragnar seem like unironically great. It's just finding good units to attach them to, I think, is the awkward question. Like, if you could stick them in Flamestorm aggressors, I don't think anyone would be complaining. But right now, they just don't attach to anything good. Cadus Wilper is dead? I didn't know that. That's funny. Yeah, he's like a real old Finecast model, too. I think Herald Deathwolf is the real bad one, right? Oh, no. Who's the guy? Oh, it is Canis. Canis has the hella derpy wolf. That dude's funny. Herald is just kind of whatever. He's just like a normal Thunderwolf Calf guy. But Canis is like... That's old. That's real 5th edition Finecast energy right there. I remember when that model came out. Everyone made fun of it. It was so funny. Wolfen. Why are their strength values so low? What happened here? T5, 4+ armor, 2 wounds, lead 6, 0 OC. Get fucked. Okay. They have a 6+ feel no pain. That feels kind of insulting. And they have a 4+ fight on death. A 4+ invulnerable save. Yeah, that's pretty bad. I'm gonna be honest. That feels like I'm gonna be honest, that feels like a copy paste error. They were like, this one should be 6 attacks. Oops. We made the other one identical. But it should have been something else. Did they not have a wolf and dreadnought picture? Oh, I guess it's because it's the big wolf dreadnought. The venerable dreadnought. So the Wolfen can get the Blizzard Shield. He does a bunch of mortal wounds. Anytime he's selected to fight, he doesn't have to end charges, so that's pretty good. And he has Stormbolters or Heavy Flamers. Any number of this model's Stormbolters can be replaced with 1 Flamer. The Great Axe or Great Wolf Claw and Stormbolter can be replaced with 1 Blizzard Shield and 1 Stormbolter.
Can you check the Assault Cannon option for WG Terminator's PLS? It seems you cannot go Cannon plus Power Fist, like instead the normal Terminsters.
Let's look. Wolfguard Terminators. For every 5 models in the unit, 1 Wolfguard Terminator can replace its Power Fist and Stormbolter with one of the following: 1 Assault Cannon, 1 Heavy Flamer. Oh, yeah. It replaces both of its weapons with 1 ranged weapon. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you're right. Any number of models can have each Can have their Power Fist and Stormbolter or Power Weapon and Stormbolter replaced with 2 of the following. Yeah, I think you're only supposed to replace the Stormbolter, but they said replace the Power Fist and the Stormbolter. So I think, as currently worded, right now you can't. It doesn't look like you can take a melee weapon and a ranged weapon. Yeah, that's got to be FAQ'd, right? Do Blood Ravens have their own rules? They do not. In fact, the only Blood Angels bespoke model was legended. Gabriel Angelos used to have a data sheet, but now he does not. So Blood Ravens are gone. That's wild. That's super. That's definitely a mistake for sure. That's a good call out, chat. You're not wrong. Alonda, thanks for the super chat, by the way. I appreciate you. But yeah, that's insane. Yeah, they just forgot the other one at home. You know, they gotta steady the gun. That's the problem with the Space Wolf armor. It just doesn't have the same electronically motivated fiber bundles, synthetic muscle fibers that the other ones do. They try to rely on raw wolf man strength, and the problem is that it's just not as good as having like an exoskeletal assisted support system. So they have to use 2 hands to shoot their gun, and everyone else just uses 1. Look at the Wolfguard pack leader and Terminator armor. It's at the bottom. I don't know. All right, where were we at with these guys? We were looking at Wolf and Dreadnoughts. So they have 1 Stormbolter, a Great Axe, and a Wolf Claw. If they replace their Fenrisian Great Axe, they get a Blizzard Shield and a Stormbolter, and then they can replace both Stormbolters with 2 Heavy Flamers. So you can still take 2 Heavy Flamers on Wolf and Dreadnoughts, which is fucking rad. Because a 2d6 torrent on a thing that's running at you is pretty good. And the Wolf Claw, it lost its reroll wounds, but it picked up an AP. So that's something. The Axe, you lose a Flamer. Oh, but you're no longer -1 to hit with the Axe. So you might actually stick with the Axe and take the 1 Heavy Flamer. Oh, you lose an AP, though. I don't know. Wolf and Dreadnought seems sweet, though. Just the plowing somebody for mortal wounds a significant amount of the time. Not 100% unless you charge, right? It's a 2+ if you charge, it's a 4+ if you don't. Is really good. If you charge, it's a 4+ to do D3 plus 3 mortal wounds. I would kind of be looking at Wolf and Dreadnoughts if I was playing Space Wolves, especially because they're base 2+ armor. So they're T9 2+ armor, 4+ invuln. So they're like a 1+, and if you hit them with anything big, then they just fall back on the invulnerable save. Which seems great. And there's no reason you'd ever not take the shield, because they start with 2 melee weapons, and you never want both melee weapons. Unless you want the options, but who cares? Space Wolf all Dreadnought army? I used to play that, chat. I played that in the beginning of 9th edition. It was rad. One of the coolest armies I played, I think. So Murderfang kept his twin linked. He's 8 attack, strength 14, AP 2, 3 damage. That is a profile I will accept AP 2 on. That's pretty good. Each time an enemy targets this model after that unit is finished making attacks, this model can either shoot or fight. Whoa! Each time. Hold up. Hold the phone. Each time an enemy unit targets this model, After that model has finished making its attacks, this model can either shoot as if it were your shooting or fight as if it were your fight phase. How many flamers does he have? Just one. Sad. So the shooting's not that good, but he basically interrupts for free, but he can do it multiple times. So your opponent can charge him. If they hit him and don't kill him, he fights them, and then you interrupt and he fights them again. He just double fights and kills their whole unit. This dude seems nuts. Like, hold up. Also, if you engage someone, right? So, all right. So we're gonna like rapid ingress a Storm Raven or some shit. And then disembark Murder Fang and run at some dumb idiot unit your opponent has. Like, I don't know, a tank. And he punches it for like 9 damage. And then it's obligated to swing back, and then he just punches it again and kills it. Also, he's a vehicle. So he can like get stuck in a melee, they punch him, and then he just flamethrowers someone, like not in the same combat. This yeah, if he's in combat, you could shoot him, and then he fights in your shooting phase. This guy seems awesome. This guy seems so good. Unironically, Murder Fang is absolutely nutso. You're just gonna egress him. You're not gonna deploy him on the table. You're gonna find ways to get him out there otherwise. You're egressing a Storm Raven gunship. That's all I'm saying, you know? I bet the Death Company Dreadnought isn't move 8, is he? That's a big change. But I also, I'd also be interested to see how many points this guy costs. But because I have a sneaking suspicion he's OC 0. He's an OC 0 box dread with no invulnerable save. I bet he's like sub 200. I bet this guy's like a nice 150. Can't drop pod him, chat. Unfortunately, the days of the drop pod are over. They've legended the Dreadnought drop pod. So I think it's like you strategic reserve him, or he's in a Storm Raven. I think that's the only way to transport Dreadnoughts, right? Outside of like Forge World stuff. The DC Dreads are? Okay. Well, Death Company Dreadnoughts seem great then. All right, Murder Fang. I'm into it, my guy. I think Murder Fang looks fucking nuts. Plus, he's a character. He's an epic hero, chat. So he unlocks your sagas. If you like, you just like strategic reserve this guy. You like rapid egress him, and he's like wandering off like a table edge near your opponent's objectives. He's like, "What's up, guys? How's it going?" You just like wander him behind like a wall. He automatically kills something. Immediately triggers off your... Like, this is the dude. This is the guy who's going to trigger your saga of the Beast Slayer. This dude will slay the beast, for sure. 100% of the time. I like this guy. I think you just have to strategic reserve him. And just charge him into whatever. He's like such a threat, too. I don't know. He seems great. I think the problem is, like, you're not always going to get the fights you want if you're reserving him, but you'll at least get to fight something. And I think that's okay. This guy also has a 6+ Feel No Pain. Seems like they're just a Death Company Dreadnought. Are the like Blood Talons the same profile as these things? Do Space Wolves and Blood Angels just have like accidentally traded the same unit? Fenrisian Wolves, fast movement, advance and charge, no OC though. Not great. That is a stone garbage profile right there, is what that is. Sky Claws get +1 to hit on the charge, and you can take 2 guys with special stuff. Long fangs, do long fang stuff. Each time they remain stationary, if you include a long fang pack leader, select one enemy unit that's visible to the model until the end of your turn. Reroll hit rolls of 1. All right, that's cute. That's it. I like that. That's a good way of representing their split fire ability. Well, I guess it's the different, like it's the opposite splitting fire. They get a benefit when they shoot the same thing because then they all get rerolls. The Storm Fang. If he shoots a monster or vehicle, it gets -2 to move and stuff. But it's specifically its Hellfrost Destructor. 7 damage. Okay. Unnecessary, but thank you. Or a D6 plus 6, strength 8, AP 1, 2 damage torrent. Not ignore cover, though, so that's less good, but still strong. That's a good Overwatch, like, battery. This thing is not bad, honestly. We'd have to see points, I guess. It is like a T10 aircraft. I bet it pays out the nose for those attributes. Oh, it also only holds 6 people. That's not great. The Storm Wolf is the one you want to hold a bunch of people in, though, right? If a unit disembarks from the transport before it moves, the unit is still eligible to charge in a turn at which it advanced. Interesting. I wonder if the play pattern's supposed to be that you like deep strike it and then hold for a turn, and then everyone gets out and advances and charges. Carries 16. Yeah, but you probably want to disembark and shoot with your guys. I don't know if that's like so that useful an ability. It's kind of cool, but I'm trying to consider the situation in which you would want to disembark from a transport before it moves. Yeah, strength 11, AP 3, damage 7 with sustain, chat. It sustains for D3. Is that one time where you roll like 3 shots, 2 6s, and you roll like 4 more, and you just end up shooting a tank for like 35 damage? They mixed up, dispersed, and focused. Oh, maybe. It doesn't matter, right? Yeah, there's nothing that cares what the name of the weapon is. I don't. It's kind of whatever. Wolfguard Pack Leader. Oh, this is what we were talking about earlier. We have a Terminator Pack Leader, Jump Pack, Terminator Armor. The Stormbolter and Power Weapon can be replaced with 2 different options from the following list. This model can only be equipped with two ranged weapons if one of them is a Cyclone Missile Launcher and the other is a Stormbolter or Combi Weapon. So you can't go Cyclone Assault Cannon, which is sad. And they are characters that must attach to Bloodclaws, Grey Fangs, or Grey Hunters, or Long Fangs. And can even do so if one or more character units have already been attached. Oh, that's interesting. So that's the one way that you can get multiple attachments, right? If you can attach a captain, lieutenant, and Wolfguard Pack Leader, you actually get 3 characters into a unit. So GW lied. They said there's no way to get more than 2 characters, but you sure can. Once per battle, you can reroll a battle shock test. All right. So basically, they're just adding another model to a unit, but you get a once per game reroll. That's all right. And then you also give up assassination, which is a lot less good. Iron Priest gets a profile. Oh yeah, because they have a special hammer, of course. Only hits on 3s though. No devastating wounds either, sad. The Cyber Wolf. Grants Fenrisian Wolves 6-inch movement. They're characters, it's wild. You get bonuses against people below have strength, whatever. Wolf Scouts are just scouts for the most part, with extra attacks, it looks like. Space Wolf's Venerable. Gives rerolls to hit and wound. Wait, does the regular Dreadnought also do that? Or is it only hit rolls? That's weird. The regular Dreadnought has an identical named ability with a different effect. They just reroll hit roll of 1. And the Venerable Dreadnought is hit and wound. It's confusing. Oh, the Wolf Scouts are 1 wound? I glossed right over that. Is that for real? Oh my god, they are. What? Up in arms. Up in arms. Yeah, it's just a better version of the Dreadnought reroll aura. So the basic Dreadnought from the normal Space Marine Codex has the same aura, but it only affects hit rolls, not wound rolls. Also, it's restricted to infantry, so the amount you can hit with it's not that big. And it doesn't affect itself. Their axe is the same as the other Dreadnought axe. And they can take a shield. Alright. Yeah, this does feel like Typo City, though, right? A lot of mistakes in this one. The Iron Priest has an extra wound over normal Tech Marines, actually. That's kind of cool. And it has like a sweet 3 damage pistol. Damn. Well, sorry, Space Wolves. You got a borked index. I have a sneaking suspicion that Wolfen profile is a mistake. There's so many other mistakes in this index. I bet that those Wolfen were supposed to have a different profile on those hammers. There's no reason for that hammer to have the same profile as the regular melee attack. That would be nuts. So, like, everything just becomes an heirloom weapon, a crappy ass heirloom weapon. It can affect Ragnar. That's true. That's true. You can have him jump out of the Storm Raven with Ragnar and his friends. Gives you Space Wolf Codex vibes all over, yeah. What are we doing next, chat? We got a lot of people on Black Templars. Is it Black Templars next? Yeah. Games Workshop. Mad sloppy. Hella sloppy, for sure. I think we'll jump on Black Templars because everyone was wanting us to. All right. What do we got going on? So they have their Templar vows. They get lethal hit, 5+ or 6+ feel no pain, anti-psyker 4, or sustain 1 in melee. They pick at the start of the first battle round. Cool. They cannot take... Army cannot include any Adeptus Astartes Psyker models, any of the following models that do not have the Black Templars keyword. Gladiator, Lancer, Reaper, Valiant, Impulsor, Repulsor Executioner? What the fuck? You can't take repulsors in Black Templars? Hold up. Is this like a fluff thing I don't know about? Do Black Templars they're like, oh no, we couldn't possibly use good vehicles. We don't want to take the Gladiator Lancer. We don't want to take an Impulsor. Impulsor, I mean, Impulsor, like, in fairness, in 8th edition, they could charge, like, they could pseudo charge out of an Impulsor like 30 inches. Oh, they have their own? That's weird. Bizarre. Okay, well, whatever. Fervent Acclamation. Select one Templar vow. In your command phase, while the character's leading a unit, models in the unit gain the vow. In addition to the vow you select to be at the start of your battle. For a 1 round. Alright. Devout Push. In your opponent's shooting phase after an enemy unit has shot. If you lost a model, you can move D6 inches closer to the enemy unit. If it pour the witch, destroy the witch, you can go towards the closest psyker instead. No escape. When an enemy falls back, you can 4+ to stick them in combat. For some reason, I was like, "Oh, did we lose a page of stratagems?" But they're just all green. They have Armor of Contempt. Vicious Riposte is just a 4+ fight on death. Okay, and then Crusader's Wrath is +1 AP, +1 strength if you've chosen Suffer Not the Unclean, which is sustain. Ugh, is lethal. Anti-synergy. Guys, I took lethal hits so I don't have to roll against your toughness value. Oh, wow. You get +1 strength. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Perdition's Edge. +1 strength and armor penetration characteristic. If you take Suffer Not the Unclean, you get +1 attack as well. Witch Seekers. Anti-Psyker 4 and Devastating Wounds. And you can reroll the hit and wound against Psychers. Oh my god. Sorry, Psychers. We're sorry you have the worst keyword in the game. That's what you get for having an ability that's equivalent to everyone else's non-Psyker keyword abilities. Fuck you. Sigismund's Seal gives +1 attack to all of its melee weapons. So if you have multiple, it goes extra. So you can, if you take this on like the Gravis Armored dude who has 2 melee weapons and has extra attacks, you can actually get 2 extra attacks out of it. I guess that also works for Perdition's Edge. I like that it affects all of their melee weapons. You don't have to like choose one. While you're leading a unit, you get a critical hit on a 5+ if you accept any challenge. Then Tannhauser's Bones has half damage. And you get a 5+ feel no pain for the unit if you uphold the honor of the Emperor. Interesting. Oh, excuse me. We're zoomed in so far. I apologize, chat. Grimaldus gives reroll hits. That's so weird that the character chaplains have a different effect than the normal chaplains. That is the case, right? They just have a different ability. And you can't add them together, so you can't stack them. You just get to pick. And let me tell you about how +1 to wound is way better than the other thing. Yeah, they have Litany of Hate. They have +1 to the wound roll. I don't know. I guess you can fish for like 5 up. Or you can't, yeah, well, you can't fish for 5 up criticals. You can fish for lethals, I guess, on a 6. Is there a strat for a 5 up critical? No, right? No. You have to take the relic for it. Yeah, I don't know. The Cenobite Servitors. Grant relics. And I guess as long as you have 1, and he has 3, right? And the Cenobites are... The unit has a 4+ invulnerable save. The Cenobites are just ablated 4+ invulnerable saves. That's sick. You can advance and charge. You get a 5+ feel no pain. Or improve the armor penetration characteristic. Oh, those are all good. And he can join Sword Brethren or Crusaders. Well, that's solid. And it is Primaris Crusaders. So this is a standard Crusader squad, which is up to 20. That reroll advance and charge rolls. What are their special weapon loadout? One initiate gets a heavy weapon. One initiate gets a special weapon. Boring. I mean, they seem great. It's like a boatload of attacks that you can buff with the characters, which seems okay. The larger infantry units seem okay with the characters for sure. Helbrecht gets +1 strength to melee weapons and 5+ critical hits. Okay. Well, but you can't give him rerolls because you can't chain the two characters together, right? Yeah, Grimaldus doesn't have an add to a unit ability. And he can do mortal wounds to people as if he was a wolf in Dreadnought. He's doing his best wolf in Dreadnought impression, but he'll never be a wolf in Dreadnought. He's not the same. And his strength 8 AP 3 damage. Yeah, it's fine. I like the. Are we just like is this the critical hit matters faction chat? Are we just like pushing critical hits as hard as possible here? Primaris Crusaders are the same. Oh, their chain swords attack 5 times. Holy shit. Do they have two? They have 2 additional attacks over the standard Crusaders? Is that correct? Damn it. Wow, okay. Every neophyte gets an Astartes chainsword. And the initiates can take an Astartes chainsword. So you can take 20 dudes with 5 attack chainswords. Whoa. So that's just like a... It's like... It's just like a casual 100 attacks, right? This unit is like nuts. What? Like, hold up. Wait a minute. What the fuck? This unit has 100 attacks. That's insane. And then Grimaldus gives it full hit rerolls and either +1 AP or advance and charge with reroll charge rolls and advance rolls. So they reroll on both steps. That's pretty good. 100 attacks. What's like... You can give them an additional +1 AP if you take the lethal hits, which you probably do. Assuming that we're not just like playing Gladius Strike Force and lancing them, right? Like you can lance for +1 to wound and +1 AP if you play Gladius Strike Force. Let's assume that we're doing the like assault tactics stratagem. And there's just 100 of these dudes. They're rerolling their hit rolls. Reroll hit rolls. And they're AP 2, 1 damage, and they go up against whatever. A T9 2+ a vehicle. And they get +1 to wound, so they would be equivalent to strength 5. So not including lethal hits. This unit with a doctrine and 1 stratagem does 14 damage to any vehicle up through toughness. Doesn't matter. Literally any toughness value. There's this strat in Gladius Strike Force for +1 to wound and +1 AP. Yeah, I guess that is true, Trey. Like actually getting him to melee is gonna be tough for sure. You're not wrong about that. And honestly, like a lot of them die to Overwatch. You probably don't ever get 100 attacks in, but if these guys aren't like super expensive, this unit seems like sort of insane. All right, Primaris Crusaders. Calm down. You seem great. The Sword Brethren have the same number of attacks as the Chainsword. Or can take Mastercrafted Power Weapons, and they can either get +1 damage, +1 attack, or +1 damage. Is it better if we take half as many, but they do twice as much damage? Probably not, right? Any number of them can have their Chainsword replaced with 1 power weapon. And you can get a Mastercrafted Power Weapon on the Castellan. It's too bad they can't rock some cool Lightning Claws. Isn't there a Lightning Claw model in the unit? There's the guy with the 2 Lightning Claws in the cape, right? I guess maybe that's in the standard Sword Brethren unit, not the Primaris one. Emperor's Champion. Melee attack is allocated to model once per phase. You can reduce it to damage 0. He's +1 to wound against characters. He's precision if he strikes. He doesn't do anything like supportingly though. Yeah, he's all right. The old Castellan grants lethal hits, and you can fall back and charge. So he's just a lieutenant. All right. The Marshal is a captain, just a regular Primaris captain. Black Templars, Gladiator, Lancer. Yeah, so you're right, chat. They have the Black Templars keyword, and they get a multi-melt on top. That's boring. Well, I'm gonna say Black Templars look great. That's some real strong melee output from these guys. Plus they like this reactive effect seems good. Yeah, I don't know. Black Templars seem pretty solid. There is a Primaris Sword Lightning Claw guy. Where he at? Where he be? There's no Lightning Claw profile in the unit as far as I can see. Am I missing something? Maybe it's just representing the power weapon, I guess. Which is too bad. I think it might just be power weapon. RIP. Sorry, Lightning Claw enthusiasts. All right, we got Blood Angels and we got Deathwatch next, chat. What are we doing? I'm going to hold on for a sec so that you guys have a chance to catch up and let me know down in the comment section. I think I might do like a little mini tier list of these. I might do a video on that. Right now, definitely feeling Space Wolves like pretty mediocre for sure. Dark Angels probably above Space Wolves. I feel like kind of equal to Black Templars. Because Black Templars actually like have a they have a detachment ability, basically, but the Dark Angels kind of don't. But Dark Angels have better data sheets, but their characters are worse. So it kind of feels like maybe Dark Angels pull ahead just because like the tanky Deathwing Knight unit's like good, but is it that good? Does that unit survive being attacked by 100 attacks from Astartes Chainswords? Who knows? Deathwatch. Two people said Blood Angels. Everyone else said Deathwatch. All right. What unit has 100 attacks on Black Templars? Literally just Primaris Crusaders, chat. Just the bare bones fucking Primaris Crusaders squad. You can take 20 dudes and they all have 5 attack chainswords, which feels like a typo, but I don't know. I love this other models profile too. That's funny. All right, everyone said Deathwatch, so here we go. All right, let's talk about some kill teams. So this is an additional army roll that they get. And do they get this in addition or in place of Oza Moment? Probably in addition to, right? Yeah. Cool. So each time an attack targets a kill team unit from your army that contains models with different toughness characteristics, uses toughness characteristic of the majority. If 2 or more toughness characteristics are tied, use the highest. For the purposes of determining which models can embark into transport, it all tells you. All models in units with the kill team ability are treated as infantry. Just like they used to. We get the classic bikes that go through walls again, but I imagine you can't combat squad them off anymore. Once per game, you can give everyone sustained hits, lethal hits, or critical precision. You can't take assault squads, attack bikes, devastators, land speeders, scouts, scout Skype, sniper, tactical. Regular bike squads you can take, just not attack bikes. All right. Up to 2 kill team units or 1 other Adeptus Astartes unit. Okay, so this is like kill team matters is the idea, and you get a mission tactic. Teleportarium. End of your opponent's fight phase, 2 kill team units from your army. Remove them from the battlefield. In the reinforcement step of your next movement phase, set them up 9 inches away. If they're out of engagement. So you can't teleport out of engagement, but you can jump around in your opponent's turn. Hellfire rounds. Get anti-infantry 2+ and anti-monster 5. Oh, that's cool. They have all different special ammunitions. Yay, the special ammunitions are back. And this is all ranged weapons. Fuck, okay. Okay. All right. Real talk. How many bikes can we take with that dude who gives devastating wounds? Kraken rounds give +1 armor penetration and +6 range. Dragonfire rounds give assault and ignore cover. Where's that bike squad at? How many bikers can we take that automatically do mortals? Like 6? With an attack bike? Um. I can't find them. Oh, here they are. So you can take 6 bikes and an attack bike. What's the highest volume of weapons you can take? You take the grab guns because you want to keep anti-vehicle. They each only shoot 2 times, actually. No, that's not that good. So they shoot against infantry. If you take the chaplain shoots 2 times. And then you'd have 7 stormbolters, so 14, so 16. And then you have like 3 heavy bolter shots. So 19, 4 grav gun shots. So 23, 24 with the sergeant's gun. Oh, but then he's not shooting his bolt gun. I guess he could take a stormbolter, so he could shoot another 4. So you could shoot 28 times with anti-infantry 2 plus devastating wounds. Yeah, I guess you could just do it on autocannon or on burp guns. I guess because that also gets like sustained too, right? Yeah, that's okay. That's probably where you use it for sure. It's weird. Oh no, it says excluding vehicles, so you can't do it on the Reaper. No, you just kidding. So you basically for sure do it on the I guess you could do it on invader squads, right? But that's a single invader. Maybe there's something in here that has devastating. Yeah, I'm in on that. I'm in on that chaplain bike squad for sure, chat. I think that chaplain bike squad is the secret sauce because then you get a reasonable amount of anti-vehicle, but then you also get mass anti-infantry too. If you pay the CP for it with devastating wounds to do mortals. So it's like 28 attacks, like total. That does. What's the math hammer on that? Without any bonuses to hit. It's 3. I'm just gonna call everything wounding on 2s without a save. And then we said it's 8 total bikes, so 8 times 2 bolter shots. So 16. On 3s. Oh, this is 2 damage. And this rerolls wounds. And then oh, it's actually 20 because you get a stormbolter on the sergeant. And then 2 grav guns. So they shoot for 16 mortals. Oh no, 19 mortals because of the extra damage from the gun from the grav. So that's a normal bike squad with a attached chaplain, attached bike chaplain, and Hellfire rounds. Is a casual 19 mortals to an infantry unit. I'm into that, chat. That's a 1 CP wombo combo right there. Boom. Outriders could take an ATV. Is that more damage? I guess it is, right? Oops. Where did I closed it by accident. Shoot. The Outriders would be more expensive, but I guess they are kind of better with the chaplain. So it's the same number of bolt rifles, right? It would be 10. No, 14. And then it would be it's 8 devastating wounds from the burp gun. This one only says does 9. So I think the regular bikes do way more. Was my math right there? Because there's 7 bikers, right? Oh no, there's 8 bikers, so it should be 16. Yeah, I guess like you lose the heavy bolter and you lose all the 2 damage guns on the backs of the on the special weapon bikers. So yeah, I guess the regular bikers are actually way better. I just think you take a big biker squad. Dude, that squad seems fucking nuts. They're like okay against vehicles because they get devastating wounds twin linked for the 6s to wound, and then the grav cannons the grav guns just wound vehicles on 2s. But then the against infantry and monsters, they just go absolutely ham. Like absolutely ham. I bet that unit's the truth in Deathwatch chat. I bet that unit rocks. Watch caption. Oh yeah, I didn't even read what this guy does. You can advance and fall back. You get a Agents Effect effect. It's weird he doesn't. Advance or fall back is good. And do stuff. Watch Captain Artemis. You can target a unit with a stratagem even if the stratagem has already been used, so he has rights of battle. Oh no, he has like the side grade rights of battle. It doesn't make it free, but it lets you do it while you're battle shocked. Meh. That's a meh. First time the model is destroyed, roll 1d6 at the end of the phase and a 2+, set it back up on the battlefield as close as possible. Huh, that's cute. He has a little tiny mini regen, comes back with 1. I like that. You just like cross your fingers, hope he dies in the fight phase. Kill Team Cassius. Whoa! This is the most profiles we've seen. So it has the Kill Team ability. While it contains Chaplain Cassius, melee weapons have devastating wounds. Good with lightning claws. And you have a 4+ feel no pain against psychic attacks. Oh my god. This is I'm gonna be honest, this is too many things for me to read. Man, those sure are a lot of stats. Cool. I bet that's pretty good, or maybe it's bad. I don't know. Let's talk about regular Deathwatch veterans. They get rerolls against Xenos. We talked about these guys in the preview. Deathwatch Terminator Squad. That's cool. It's a combination of the regular Terminator Squad and the Assault Terminators. They get teleport homers, but they also get the battle shock on charge. They lose Fury of the First, though, which is sad. Ignoring hit penalties is a big deal. Veteran Bike Squad. They get turbo boosts, xenophase blades, and twin bolt guns. But they don't get any, like, cool, devastating wound guns. What the fuck? Yeah, it just seems... They're better in melee than the regular bike squad, but it doesn't seem quite as good. The old veteran biker technology was you could take a storm bolter and the twin bolter on the bike, which was sweet. I guess what you want to do is like source ways for these guys to advance and charge, and then they just go really far with their cool, devastating wound sword. But only the sergeant gets one of those. Yeah, I don't know. Everyone else gets a superior version of an heirloom weapon. Get wrecked. Get wrecked. Corvus Blackstar has a bomber ability. Ranged weapons equipped by the bearer have ignore cover. That's a good ability to have. And it has smoke. Okay. Well, we're off to a grand start for the Corvus Blackstar. How many weapons does it have? 2 rocket launchers, twin assault cannon. Oh, it gets either ignore cover or smoke. Might just pick ignore cover, honestly. Replace the assault cannon with a twin las cannon. Thank you so much. I will be doing that, yes. And it can either take storm strike rockets, which are not blast but do more damage. I guess you do that. AP2 ignore cover is okay. AP2 and AP3 ignore cover is all solid. And then you can transport 12 duders. No special transport rules, though. Oh, and it's stealth built in. Oh, yeah, you don't need smoke. It has stealth already. Why even give it smoke? Yeah, what the fuck? The Proteus kill team. Is that different than Deathwatch veterans? I guess so. That's confusing. Yeah, I guess because it's got the mixed profiles. You get +1 to hit against enemies not below half strength. So they're the alpha strikey guys. And 2 of them can take Deathwatch Thunderhammers, which are the 3 damage variety, right? Not listed. Sweet. Jesus, these kill team data sheets are too long. Oh my god. Any number of veterans can take a combi weapon, a bolt gun and a shield, and a melee weapon. 2 models can take thunder hammers. For every 5, 2 models can take frag cannons or infernus bolters. Up to 3 can have their storm bolter replaced with an assault cannon, a heavy flamer, or a plasma cannon. I assume this means if they have a storm bolter, I guess. So you have to be a Terminator, right? I assume there's no way to get a storm bolter unless you're a Terminator. It doesn't look like there is. Okay. But you can have 3 assault cannons in the unit. That's cool. Yeah. Well, it would be in an 8-man, right? Because you start with 5 veterans, and then you can take 4 Terminators. So it would be 8 models to get the 3 assault cannons already. But then you give them all anti-infantry 2+ and just go ham. And the Vigil ranged weapons are BS4, anti-infantry 4. So you can improve it, but eh. But that's a lot of that's 18 assault cannon shots with Hellfire rounds with devastating wounds. That's pretty solid. I'm kind of into that. And then you could also take bikers if you wanted to as well. You could also fill this out. It doesn't look like it's max 10. So you could take like 20 models in this unit. So the Proteus kill team is above half strength, you get +1. Fortis kill team is below half strength, you get +1. Indomitor kill team is +1 below starting, +1 below half, +1 to wound below half. These ones are less interesting because they're just a bunch of the same profile stuck together. And the Spectrus kill team's interesting. They can go into strategic reserve. They're both infiltrator and scout, which is solid. And they start with 5 infiltrators, and 1 infiltrator can equip a comms array or a helix gauntlet. Anything that attaches to infiltrator squads can go in these guys. So, oh, this is where we get the sweet unit that advances for 2d6, chat. If we attach a Phobos lieutenant to them, so we can put the lieutenant and Phobos armor on them, give them a single incursor, and then you advance, shoot the incursor, and move d6 inches, and then you can charge. After you give them advance and charge, obviously. If you're in, or if you have one of the many ways to do that, I guess. A long vigil weapon is just a combi weapon. I don't know why they called it something different. I could not tell you. How many models can you take in this unit? Like, you can make it really big. You could take like 10 infiltrators and 14 other models, 12 other models. So you could make a 23 model unit, 24 model unit if you take a Phobos captain that it moves 46 and advances and charges. That's fun. I love that. These guys are much different now that you can't combat squad them, though. It's interesting that they're called Deathwatch, or they're called Kill Team Infiltrators, but they all have the same. So they have the same profile. I guess they don't have the special. They don't have whatever their special abilities are from their original unit. They're all the same profile, and then they just have different guns. That's sad. But I guess it makes sense. It makes the unit easier to play around with. There's not a Phobos jump pack unit, but you can take the accelerator autocannon. It's the suppressors. Yeah, it's just adding a suppressor to the unit. You could do that to make them a little bit faster, to ensure that they make charges more easily, but maintaining coherency is the tougher part. I don't even know why you would want to charge this unit into melee. They're not that good at fighting, to be honest. But it's kind of funny. I think you just stick a librarian on them, make them unshootable or something. To be honest. Or do you just keep them 5 models? That's fine too. I guess you could put a librarian in with 2 accelerator autocannons and 2 sniper rifles. So it's a 10 model unit with 4 big heavy weapons. And they're unshootable. That might be okay, but the rest of the unit's kind of garbage. Maybe you put 1 incursor in just for the Oculus. Oh, but it doesn't have the incursor ability, so it doesn't get the +1 to hit. Yeah, meh. The kill teams don't seem that great, honestly, now I'm looking at them. I don't know if I'd internalize that they don't get any of whatever the abilities on the original model is. So, the aggressor doesn't get his +1 to wound. The eradicators don't get their rerolls. Inceptors don't get their, sweet deep strike, I guess. Yeah. Kind of poopy for poor kill teams. There's a lot of depth in this codex, but definitely not as much as there was, it feels like. Where does it say 10 models? Oh, in the white text. Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't even see that. Yeah, I don't know. Not that I think you'd build out bigger than 10, probably. We're really learning a lot about these, reading these data sheets, because do they put information in the weirdest fucking spots? I don't know if I would have, if somebody hadn't pointed it out, I certainly wouldn't have looked into in the section header for any rules text. That's not where I would check. I would assume that would go in the black text underneath it. But yeah. All right. Well, that thought seemed interesting. And then we're on Blood Angels. The last one. Let's see how good Sanguinary Guard got to be. So they're +1 strength and attacks to begin with. No, it's just poor formatting, chat. Like real talk. There's no reason to look there for rules text. It's the same like with the unit attachment thing. Like I don't know if I would look for a character rule for the character being able to attach somewhere. I wouldn't look on the unit to be attached to. Like it's something you'd find eventually, but on the first read through, it's tough to see. Especially because I'm trying to speed read like 40 data sheets. Like, I don't know. If there's rules in a place that doesn't normally have rules, I'm not gonna see it. I don't know what to tell you, chat. Anyway, we're off to Blood Angels. They can angel sacrifice when their characters get destroyed. You get reroll hits against the unit that killed them. Okay, well, that doesn't seem that good. You just choose them with Oaths of Moment anyway, so it seems all right. Get a 6-inch consolidate with aggressive onslaught. It's the same restrictions that like Overrun has, where you have to go into melee. You can't use it to get to objectives. And then Red Rampage gives lance and lethal hits. Anything that gets that lance is pretty solid. But I think that it feels like the problem with melee right now is that melee weapons for some reason got like tanked on AP value. So you're competing directly with the like +1 lance and +1 AP and assault doctrine. And that's a tough pill to swallow. But lance plus +1 strength is often +2 to wound, and that's actually like kind of an important breakpoint. Because a lot of times you get to, at least against T10 or T9, you wound on 5s. A lot of the strength 4 weapons in the codex. It's retain the fight on death, which is good. That'd be weird if they'd lost out on their their fight phase interaction for the fight phase chapter. Be obnoxious. And then they can fall back and charge, but not shoot. So a little bit different, and also that's used in the movement phase. When does Intractable get used? I guess also in the movement phase, but that lets you shoot and charge. It feels like those, I don't know, it feels like those should be used in the charge phase. I don't like the stratagems that require that you call them like 2 phases beforehand are a little bit, they like lock you in. That's like easy to forget about and then lose access to. Do Space Wolves have one? Yeah, but that allows them to shoot as well. So everybody uses theirs in the movement phase, I guess. So at least it's pretty. At least it's consistent. They're +1 AP of all weapons, including range weapons, interestingly, and 2+ save. +1 AP of all weapons is okay. Visage of Death, have objective control. while an enemy unit is within engagement range of the bearer's unit. So interestingly, not the bearer itself, its whole unit affects it. That's pretty good. Archangel Shard is Lance and Anti-Chaos 5+. Alright, whatever. It's very specific. Get wrecked Chaos. This is also unmodified though. So it gives you criticals on a unmodified 5+, right? But then you also get +1 to wound on your normal attacks. That's like it feels like kind of an anti-synergy. I don't know. Weird. And then Icon of the Angel. Forces desperate escape checks and -1 when people fall back from you. Oh, also excluding monsters and vehicles. Yeah, whatever. It's kind of okay, I guess. It's thoroughly mediocre. That's probably the one you cut. If I were to take a gander. Astarath gives 4+ fight on death. Whatever. You just pay for it if you need it, I think. Once per battle, he can grant devastating wounds. Okay. And he has devastating wounds already. Certainly not as exciting as the the +1 to wound off the normal. The chaplains, honestly. The special chaplains are outside of Grimaldus. Grimaldus seems great, but the other special chaplains are just, I don't know. They feel a little all over the place. They're just trying to, they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel for special abilities. I feel like Blood Angels are not the faction that you want to be like receiving damage too much. They just want to charge in and kill people, and you can't use it reactively on the charge, so you might as well take a chaplain that buffs your aggression, which is what you're trying to do. The old ball predator. Ew. He does have the flamestorm cannon is good because it's an ignore covered torrent weapon. But having a twin assault cannon as your turret weapon is not amazing. Can roll advance rolls for him. Every time he advance, he gets assault but can only target infantry. Okay. Why? That's weird. They're like, we want to give it assault, but we have to give it some sort of restriction. What if this tank that only had anti-infantry weapons could only target infantry? Like, okay, well, that's what I was going to shoot anyway, but thank you. It is fortunately only until the end of the turn, so it can shoot infantry on your turn and then overwatch your opponent's turn normally, which is good. I think the Flamestorm Cannon is definitely the winner here. If this tank is cheap and can mount the big 2 damage flamer, I think it's got a place. But this doesn't seem like a particularly inspiring profile. Definitely didn't expect a regular twin assault cannon off of it. You compare that to like the Reaper, which is just the same thing but twice as many attacks, and you're like, well, sorry, Ball Predator, you look a little sad there, my guy. Corbulo grants his whole unit a 5+ feel no pain. Is that a sanguinary priest thing? It does say it's sanguinary priest is the ability, so I would assume so. And then +1 to attacks characteristic of melee weapons for models equipped in your unit, which is restricted to assault, devastator, tactical, vanguard veteran. Ooh. That's a good upgrade though. I think that there's something to be said for the regular assault squad. I actually think that standard assault squads are probably going to be better than people give them credit for, because they have a cool ability to gain a bunch of, oh, I'm right here. They have a cool ability to gain special effects on their melee weapons. So you can give them like sustain 1 lance +2 attacks, and they attack because they'd get if they're with Corbulo, they'd get 1 from Corbulo and 1 from the Blood Angel, the detachment ability. So they'd go to 6 attacks at strength 5 with +1 to wound. or lethal, one or the other. I actually think that's like probably this is like a kind of wildly underrated ability, in my opinion. So I bet that's probably a pretty good unit. To be fair. Gifted Commander for Captain Tycho. Captain Tycho's doing something. He can go into Assault Command Tactical Vanguard Veteran, and he can grant Assault Heavy or Rapid Fire. That is it. It's a Vanguard Veteran, not Stern Guard Veteran for him. That's weird. He gets mad if you punch him, but his melee weapon sucks, so it doesn't really matter. And he has a 2 damage combi. Oh, it goes to 4 within 12 inches, though. That's kind of cute. Has the melter roll on a combi weapon. I like that. But he's not applying his effects to any units that really matter, so I think we're probably leave him at home. Fisty Mephiston joins Assault Intercessors. Intercessors are Stern Guard veterans. And can debuff an enemy at the start of fight phase. And he gives his own unit fights first. That's solid. His ranged weapon is whatever. Sustain 3, I guess, is fine with the hazardous variety. I guess you put him into like Assault Intercessors, right? Fights first doesn't do too much, but beyond his attacks are pretty good. But yeah, it's another one of those characters that gets restricted for only being able to join like the most basic bitch of units. Yeah, it certainly seems like Tycho wants to join Stern Guard veterans for sure. Assuming that rapid fire stacks, right? Because they're 2 shots rapid fire 1, so they go to 3. And if you could stack multiple rapid fires, it'd go to 4. But they already have assault and heavy. But giving them an extra shot within 12 is like certainly something. There's just like buffing base bolt guns is just not worth bringing a character for though. On the other units you can join. Even Stern Guard veterans is like borderline. I like the idea of Stern Guard veterans, just like a boatload of devastating wound shots, but I don't know if I love it. I guess that's another unit you could stick the anti-infantry rounds into in Deathwatch, right? And just blast away with some sweet devastating wounds. Anti-infantry 2+ like heavy guns. Dante gives +1 to charge and +1 to hit while leading a unit. Start of the fight faces forces battle shock with -1. That's actually starting to get okay. Unfortunately, I guess his axe got lethal hits. His 8 attacks, so 9 on the charge goes to strength 8. But strength 8 doesn't really matter so much anymore. His gun's okay. What can he join? Sanguinary Guard? Yeah. Which is almost entirely what you're going to be joining. The Death Company Dreadnought has the same ability that Murderfang has, which we talked about already. If he doesn't have a chaplain within 12, he can't fall back and his OC becomes 0. Not quite. It doesn't hit as hard as Murderfang. Like, not even close. But he's okay. I guess you take the strength 12 AP3 swings, but your damage cap's a little bit low. It goes to 6 on the charge, it's strength 13, which is probably fine. That's still dangerous enough, I think. And then you almost always get to double swing, so that's good enough to kill most vehicles. You just need to deliver them, so you need to find a way to get the to get them in. And I guess they can actually make charges out of Deep Strike or out of Strategic Reserve because they can charge monsters and vehicles with +2, so it's like a 7 rerollable. So it actually becomes slightly reliable. I like the Death Company Dreadnought. If they're, assuming they're not too expensive, if they're cheap enough, I think you just like rock 3 of them and use them as little nuclear missiles. Oh, they reroll hits from Black Rage. Oh, they do, yeah. So they're full rerolling. That's good. I think you get to the point where you're like, you know, strength 13, AP 3, 3 damage, and almost always swinging twice. Unless your opponent one-shots you, which feels kind of unlikely. And you basically the number of attacks you make almost doesn't matter at that point. You're probably gonna kill whatever you get. It has a Melt-A-Gun and a Stormbolter and can replace both the Melt-A-Gun with 2 Heavy Flamers. You might keep the Melt-A-Gun actually. Especially because, so the Black Rage, interestingly, it doesn't restrict it to melee. Can you take more than one Melt-A-Gun? No. So you take a Heavy Flamer and a Melt-A-Gun probably, because you get the reroll to hit on the Melt-A-Gun. And then, even if you get shot, you have a 12-inch range, like D6 damage weapon you can randomly plink somebody with. Pretty sweet. Yeah, the grapple seems real good. You really want to get that guy into like a dumb vehicle, a big dumb tank. And then just like swing, get bonked, swing again. Death Company Intercessors have the same ability. They get to fight, Overwatch, or heroically intervene for free. But as we determined, outside of the rerolls, they don't have any extra attacks of a regular Intercessor. So they just like trade. They trade objective secured for extra damage, and they lose. And they're like, there's no Forlorn Fury or anything, so I don't know if there's a huge reason to take Death Company. The Foot Death Company seem good. They get Sustain 1 or Sustain 2 too if they've taken any casualties. The Jump Pack ones can reroll charges. These guys coming out of a Land Raider seem like they might be okay. Where was Lamarty's chat? People were talking up Lamarty's. Oh, here we go. Makes your unit -1 damage? Okay. And you get lethal hits? Huh. Well, now I kind of want Astorath. But he can only join jump pack units. No! I guess that's fine. But I want reroll hit rolls into lethal, or into sustained hits. So the fact that he can't join the base Death Company is really frustrating. -1 damage on Death Company. I mean, that's good. It means you don't get shredded by 2 damage weapons. But also you have a 6+ Feel No Pain, so there's a non-zero chance you blank 2 damage anyway. So that feels a little bit superfluous. I guess, like, you're -1 damage into a 6+ Feel No Pain, so you're, like, kind of double dipping. But, yeah, I think you want to buff there. You want to buff their accurate, or yeah, you want to add additional effects in to trigger off the reroll, the hit rerolls. You can put like captains and stuff in here, right? Because anyone who can join tacticals can get added to Death Company. So if you have like painted up Death Company characters, you can attach them to the Death Company units so they can be fluffy. Does the leader get buffs he gives to a unit? I believe that he does, because he what's the word? Because they count as the same unit. There's no distinction between the two. So as soon as you're attached, it's a single unit. It's not 2 individuals. So you're basically just one entity. Oh, that's true. That says chaplain, not character. Yeah, you're not wrong, chat. Yeah, that's annoying. You right. Only chaplains. Get wrecked. That's obnoxious, actually. Rude. Lame. The Furioso Dreadnought. He does the mortal wound thing. Like, trying to pretend to be a wolf in Dreadnought. I see how it is, Mr. Furioso. From everything I've heard, chat, the like rare rules document will have the clarification on -1 damage, so that 1 damage is not reduced to 0. You reduce damage to a minimum of 1. That is what I've been told is the word from the people who play tested. So, well, we'll find out later this week, I guess, or maybe next week. I don't know. But as soon as that document comes out, we'll know for sure. I think the easy assumption for now is to assume that it works the least powerful way, and then if it is the more powerful way, then yay. You get to play with that in the future. So this guy's he's just a death company, but he doesn't reroll his hits and he's slower. And he doesn't have a 6+ damage ignore. But he can take a gun, I guess. Oh. Just feels like you would take Death Company Dreadnoughts, am I right? They have like the same profiles, the same abilities. Yeah, I don't know why I would ever take this thing over a Death Company Dreadnought. This is real bad. Sorry, Furioso Dreadnought, get good. The frag cannon, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I love the frag cannon. I guess it's like rapid fire, so it's 2d6 within 9. But you can't like reserve into 9. And you only move 6, so like you don't threat very far with that. And it's only AP1. Yeah, no. I'm not into it. Furiosa Dreadnought's a miss for me. Gabriel Seth, we've already seen. He gives his Vanguard veterans advance in charge, which is kind of fun, but not that great. We already talked about Lamarty's. Libby Dreadnought. Gives a 5+ final pen against mortal wounds and psychic attacks. Oh, good. Oh, goody. Get wrecked, psychic attacks. That's cool. He has like a big psychic hood, though. He has 1 attack with a Force Halberd. D6 +3 extra attack psychic. All right. Yeah, also slower on the Furiosa Dreadnought. It's just like worse than the Death Company in every way. A little awkward. Turns out being consumed by like horrible psychic visions is actually like a massive upgrade. Just makes you way better in every situation. They're also like not any worse at shooting for some reason. Wings of Sanguinius. Once returned at the end of your movement phase, 1 psyker in your army can select 1 infantry unit within 12. Set it up anyone on the battlefield. Oh, okay. That's pretty good, actually. What do you do with that? Just Gate of Infinity people? There's no charge buffs in this army, though, right? So we're not making charges out of Deep Strike. But it does let you just, like, yeet light infantry around. It's weird that he can't Wings of Sanguinius himself. Oh, and he has a sweet laser beam, actually. D6 +3 damage, 18-inch range, pew pew. I like the Librarian Dreadnought. He seems like a cool support piece that has like some randomly good late game. If he just like force weapons you and shoots a laser beam at you. Sustain D3 also. Hey, Sanguinary Guard. Well, the Warlord is leading the unit. You get -1 to be wounded in melee, and you're -1 to be hit all the time. Fuck, okay. 4 attacks with the blade, 5-2 for 2, or 3 attacks with the fist. I do like the fist profile. Only 3 attacks a Sag, but it goes to strength 9 on the charge with these guys. And it goes to 4 attack strength 9, which is actually fine. T4, 2 plus save, 2 wounds. The Angelus bolt gun lost its AP value and is only range 12. That's poopy. Inferno pistols got kind of super dumped. They also don't have assault weapons anymore. You can add a banner for freezies, which makes them OC2. So you can like equip the Deathly Visage guy into the unit, and then he has everybody else's OC, and you become OC2. So you get really good at holding objectives. I don't hate this unit, honestly. Oh, the fists are limited. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I guess you just do it. And everyone else gets the sword. As long as you have the CP to give them lance, then I think you're okay. Strength 6 plus 1 to wound like hits most of the game on 4s, and I think that's the point. Like that's the point at which you get pretty reliable, especially with 5 attacks a model. So a big unit's hitting with like 40 attacks. They can only attach captains though. No lieutenant. So you only ever get one model in the unit. That's too bad. And then you have to make the captain your warlord to get the -1 to be wounded thing. Yeah, it feels like more of a 0 to 1 than the auto include, but they definitely like their melee output's still good. It doesn't feel like the same, like, you know, you're just nutso melee output. Especially because the sanguinary priests don't affect them anymore, which is a little bit sad. Unless they say they can. No. Is there no jump pack sanguinary priest? Probably not, huh? Sad. Sanguinor is all by himself on his lonesome. 8 attacks, strength 6 HP, 3/2 damage. Yeah, you're like always Dante for sure. I guess there's no upside. There's no reason not to choose Dante as your warlord, right? You just have to have one for your warlord. Because you don't get anything for having your warlord in the unit. Yeah, I guess he's like almost literally supposed to synergize with them because they lost their baked in +1 to hit. So you can battle shock them, make them -1 to hit and wound, make yourself +1 attack. Yeah, I get that. That does seem like the way to be, for sure. They're kind of awkwardly defensible in melee, which is good. Sanguinar gives reroll battle shock within 6. And he can intervene into melee out of deep strike. So he's just like didn't change. Oh, he fights first. Oh, that's good. That's pretty good. All right, Sanguinor, I like you. Select one enemy unit that made a charge move this phase. You can set them up with an engagement. And if you don't, or I guess you can't rapid egress them at that point, so they just know if the Sanguinor's engaged. But if the Sanguinor you can set up an engagement range of the unit, which means that you can like bork their charges really hard. Like you can set them up in weird places where they then have to like pile and consolidate to base you and only get a couple of attacks on you. And he's a 2+ save with 4 wounds and an invuln, or 7 wounds, sorry, and an invuln. He probably doesn't die. So you just place him in base and he's like, here's 8 attacks. I don't know. Take some devastating wounds. And then doesn't die on the swing back, but like mucks around with your positioning. I hope he's not too expensive, but Sanguinor does seem pretty legit. And then Tycho, but with a different paid scheme. He's leading a unit. That unit is eligible to declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced. And he can join the Foot Firstborn Death Company. which is a pretty good Death Company unit. And when he dies in melee, he can do mortal wounds. It's kind of a lot of mortal wounds. Oh, excuse me. It's a 2+ to do 3, a 4+ to do D3 plus 3, a 6 to do D6 plus 3, and if they have the Warlord, it auto 3s. Gets D3 plus 3 on a 2. And on a 4+ does D6 plus 3? Shit, alright. Alright, Tycho, calm down, my guy. We need you to chill out for a second here, my dude. Yeah, I could see a Tycho. The advance in charge is like legit good. Especially because yeah, Seth can't go into Death Company because he's not a captain, he's a chapter master. And he's Flesh Terrors. So if you want access to the other stuff anyway, you would want to be taking Tycho. These guys don't like scout or anything, right? They just chill. Yeah, they just chill. But advance in charge at least makes their threat range reasonable. And sustain 1, sustain 2 if you take damage is like pretty good. For just mass chainsword attacks, like strength 5 chainswords at 5 attacks each. Yeah, I like that unit. That's probably solid. Oh, there is a jump pack Sanguinary Priest. Why is the jump pack Sanguinary Priest the last entry? Why is it next to the regular Sanguinary Priest? I just like totally assumed that there wasn't one. Oh, okay. Oh, but he can only join assault squads. Of course. And gives +1 AP and a 5+ feel no pain. I wonder if the regular Sanguinary Priest is okay with the or would you, no, you would just take Corbulo, right? On a foot assault marine unit. So they both give a 5+ feel no pain. I guess it's a question of whether or not mathematically +1 attack is better than +1 AP on your chainsword. Corby's a little bit better at fighting, I guess, because he has sustained himself. And he also goes to 7 attacks, 8 on the charge. That's strength 6. No, the Sanguinary Guard only allow captains to join them. Right? Yeah. They only allow captains to join them, not any character. That was like the confusion we had about the Death Company too, right? Because the Death Company have the same clause, but it's chaplain only. So it's unlike the other characters where here it is. The chat was kind enough to point that out to me. They don't count as the the equivalent unit for everyone. It's only for specific unit archetypes. And I don't believe that the other factions do that, right? That's like unique to Blood Angels. Yeah, like Deathwatch don't. They just assume that they're intercessors or whatever. Why did I zoom in so far here? Holy shit. Yeah. Deathwing don't. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty weird, honestly. It's a kind of a bizarre mechanic, but it is what it is. I guess they probably wanted to limit the amount of like wild stuff you could do with in combo with the Death Company special abilities. Well, I like the Sanguinary Guard. I like the Death Company. I think I like the Foot Death Company squad the best, weirdly. So what do we think about power level, chat? I'm kind of feeling like Dark Angels seem good, Blood Angels seem good. Deathwatch, weirdly, I think are surprisingly good. But maybe not. Maybe I'm just overrating their Mortal Wound strat. I guess like there's a baseline to everything where you have to compare like is getting access to this like these cool stratagems worth like giving up, you know, Gilliman and stuff. Like that's the real question. So here's an interesting question. If we're in the if we're in the Space Marine Codex, do the restricted units carry over if you don't play their if you don't play their special detachment? I don't think they do, right? Because this is a detachment rule, not an army rule. And the data sheets are just open, right? So if you play like Black Templars, you can take the Black Templars vehicles and then also the regular ones, right? It's only restricted if you play in the Black Templars detachment. Am I reading that right? That's kind of nuts. You could play like Black Templars with Psychers or whatever. Yeah, it seems like because the restriction on chapters is an army rule, everybody has that all the time. But the restrictions are only for the detachments. What the fuck? You think that's intentional? Hey, Dark Angels can take veterans now. They're not restricted against Sternguard veterans and stuff. Good for them. Going up in the world. So that means like, I don't know, Space Wolves out of detachment get apothecaries. That's kind of alright. Why didn't they just pull the trigger on making them their own armies? Oh, I think it's fine how it is. I just think that like the where's the index? Yeah, like this is why they have so much space here. Just have a little tiny section for each chapter if you want to put the restrictions in there. But no. That's wild. That's wild and insane. So yeah, within Gladius Strike Force, they seem like sort of like totally unbound. I don't know if there's anything particularly broken there. It seems like most of the inclusions are kind of flavor oriented. Does Deathwatch break anything? Not really, because you want to be playing. I think Deathwatch actually do want to play in detachment. Yeah, I don't think they don't really do anything outside their detachment. It's kind of mostly just that weird thing with the Black Templars vehicles, right? Yeah, I don't know. The Dark Angels detachments let you take Dark Angels? Do you have to play these in detachment? That's not how I read it. Are you normally not allowed to take these other ones? That's Yeah, no, that's just a faction. That's just a what do you call it? Chapter keyword chat. Yeah. I don't think that the detachment is what unlocks the data sheet, because you're allowed to take any Adeptus Astartes in your army. The basic Space Marine Codex does not let you take them by default. No, I don't believe so. Because when you construct an army, right, in the core rules, you just choose a faction keyword, and you can add anything with that faction keyword. We'll just grab the core rules real quick. So anything Adeptus Astartes is fair game. There's just an additional restriction thanks to the Adeptus Astartes army rule. Yeah. Note one faction keyword to be your army faction. I guess it. Yeah, you can include a unit if your army if it has the faction keyword you chose in your army in step 3. Yeah. There's detachment rules, list units that you cannot include, but it doesn't say it will list units that that are restricted to that detachment or whatever. Yeah, I think you're. Yeah, it seems to me that you're A-okay to just include whatever you want in a Gladius attachment as long as you don't mix chapters. You just ignore all the restrictions because you're not in detachment there. Yeah. That's weird. That's weird and strange. It means you could play Ultramarines with any of the other detachments. Is that the case? No. No, you can't use the other detachments with Ultramarines. You can only include Space Wolves keyworded units in the Space Wolves detachment, for example. Yeah, so it works. Space Wolves can enter a Gladius Strike Force, but it doesn't work the other way around. Once you have chosen the Champions of Rest detachment, the only eligible chapter keyworded stuff to include is Space Wolves. Is it safe to say you can call yourself whatever faction you want, but Space Marines is just Space Marines? Not much of a difference between chapters. I think there is. There's a meaningful difference, but it's not like a dramatic one. I think selecting the specialist units that you want. In some cases, you want to play in detachment. I have a sneaking suspicion that that Deathwatch, potentially Blood Angels, and Black Templars really want to play in detachment. Black Templars could probably go either way. Their abilities and the Gladius Strike Force abilities kind of overlap a lot, it feels like. The other stuff could take or leave their detachment. Like Dark Angels, I don't think you really care that much. And Space Wolves probably don't care at all, honestly. But then it's just a question of what characters do you want. Would you rather have like Ultramarines characters? Would you rather play like Torgaradon? Or would you rather play all the Space Wolves unique stuff? Which I think is a fine place for it to stand. So like outside of the special detachments, the factions don't have unique abilities, but they do have, a selection of additional units that you'll be able to pick from. You could play blue Space Marines in a Space Wolves attachment. I mean, like, traditionally Space Wolves are blue, right? But also, like, your color scheme doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is the mechanical identity of the units that you include. And if they are keyworded Space Wolves, then you're good to go in the Space Wolves army. But a Space Marine is a Space Marine is a Space Marine. If the Space Marine doesn't have a faction keyword, it doesn't matter what detachment it goes into. They operate the same either way. Not only epic heroes. These like the factions have each individual faction has like a bunch of special units and stuff they can take. Like you can't take gray hunters in your Ultramarines army. And you know, likewise you can't play tyrannic war veterans in your Space Wolves attachment. It's not just epic heroes that are restricted between chapters. There's a bunch of other units. So yeah. Anyway, I'm really interested to see where Dark Angels fit in this tier list, honestly. It does feel like the Ravenwing stuff took a pretty big hit. The Ravenwing stuff in Dark Angels doesn't feel that strong. But I do think the Deathwing looks pretty decent, especially from a survivability standpoint. Black Templars actually might be the sleeper here. Black Templars look kind of nutso, with just like hordes of dudes running across the table. But on the flip side, that stuff might die to blast templates, so who knows? Deathwatch look fun and tricksy, but I don't know if they're going to have raw power like the other factions. Although, to be fair, like any one of these factions can just Oaths a moment something and shoot it off the table with Vindicators. There's a floor of power and where everything's gonna sit at. Can hit rerolls get 2 modifiers now, or is it still if your BS is 4, there's no way to hit on a 2? Yeah, you're capped at plus or minus 1. Having plus 2 to hit basically means that you ignore like a hit penalty, essentially. Yeah, unfortunately, you can't super stack them all up. Deathwatch have double Oaths. Like they get rerolls against other stuff. Yeah, the stratagems are a big deal. It's there's a lot of overlap with Gladius Strike Force, especially for Dark Angels. You lose the -1 damage on the charge, and you lose the return fire. But like Intractable's the same as Adaptive Strategy. It's like basically identical. You know, like you could lethal hits and Storm of Fire, like you can probably argue are like pretty much the same thing. And Fire Discipline and Adaptive Strategy are similarly like pretty similar. So there's like, I don't know, Dark Angels feels like the most direct comparison to just playing in Gladius Task Force. And honestly, I think the Gladius Task Force ability is much better than Grim Resolve. Grim Resolve feels like kind of unabashedly bad. Yeah. Oh, they have an enhancement? Did I even read the Deathwatch enhancements? Maybe they've just gone in one eye and out the other one. Oh, I definitely skipped these. You can Deep Strike and Rapid Ingress for 0. You can make people ineligible to shoot with Osseous Key. Thief of Secrets is +1 strength and damage of the bearer's melee weapons. If you destroyed someone, then you get 2 instead. And Tome of the Ectoclades. Once per battle, then you get reroll full rerolls against them. Yeah, that's even better than Gilliman's, right? Because it doesn't require the first one to die. That's awesome. But it is only once per game. Much cleaner than the old, like, you get rerolls against one particular data sheet. which was like pretty weird. Yeah, the kill team abilities, the kill team matters is pretty cool. I think they want you to play like a bunch of little 5-man kill teams and then buff them with like super efficient stratagems. That's why I say I think Deathwatch are kind of like highly incentivized to play within their kill team. Or within their detachment, excuse me. But also, I just want to see that I want to see that Devastating Wounds bike squad just fucking truck like a unit of Terminators. There's like 10 Terminators running down the table, and these guys just rock up and kill 7 of them with no saves allowed. And then run away. Get wrecked. All right, chat. I think I'm gonna go ahead. I'm fading. Unfortunately, I didn't sleep last night, so I've been up for a long time. So it is nap time for Trevi. I will be live at the same time tomorrow. So like I said at the beginning of the stream, I'm not going to do a normal Tactical Tuesday. We're just going to talk about, I think it's Chaos data sheets tomorrow. So that'll be cool. I don't know if I'm going to do every data sheet. I think we might just like pick out the highlights and then go from there. But we'll kind of cross that bridge when we come to it. We'll see how much I can misread and chat can yell at me. And otherwise, I might get some 10th ed games in, so follow me on the purple channel for that. VODs are going up on the replay channel as we speak. And I hope you have a good one. So cheers, everybody. Thanks for coming and hanging out. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time. Remember to keep it classy and have happy wargaming.